what is practice for you?
I was out to dinner with some of the people from the class that you and I did the other day. And one of the people asked, have you always been into health and wellness? And I said, no, I was really into drugs and alcohol. And as the saying goes, you teach what you most need to learn. And so I think it's always important to frame that. The reason I'm so interested in health and wellness is because I'm so passionate about all kinds of things that are so bad for me. And so my interest in health and wellness is completely a constant struggle, and it's not what comes naturally to me at all. And so that's an important frame. I'm not some kind of purist. I'm not like a lifelong athlete or anything like that. I'm somebody who struggles with health and wellness, and that's always been a frame. In terms of practice is everything. Just thinking about a journey rather than a destination, thinking about compounding investment in time, in building a life that you love, that I think most people want a life that's filled with energy, that's filled with adventure, that's filled with outdoors, activities. Not so many people are interested in Ironman triathlons. Not so many people want to summit Kilimanjaro, but having energy and vibrancy and curiosity and travel and outdoors and all of those things require, especially in the second half of life, a certain level of health and vitality that most people don't have. And when we're younger, we take for granted the fact that that state is just kind of baked in. And as we get older, we really have to practice daily to cultivate it. So the concept of practice is everything is committing on a daily basis to these little small choices that compound over time, that allow you to live the life you want to live, which is usually pretty humble. When I talk to people about their goals and their aspirations, it's usually pretty attainable stuff, unless your back hurts every day, right? Unless you wake up on Monday morning and you just feel so miserable, you just don't feel like leaving the house, or unless your brain is so scrambled that you can't focus on the things that matter to you. And this is where a lot of us find ourselves.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And in terms of these little things that we do also on a daily basis, what exactly are they for you? And how you shared very openly also that it is not the easiest thing for you, right, to stay on that healthy path. Where is it maybe sometimes also a struggle, or what with? To more specifically?
I think what's hard is we look at self-destructive behaviors, whether it's smoking or drinking or doom scrolling or staying home and never go out and socializing, all kinds of different ways that it manifests. And the reason we do these things is because they work, you know? So if it's Thursday night and you're not feeling great and it's 11 o'clock and you eat a thing of ice cream and you have a half a bottle of red wine and you watch 3 shows on Netflix, you feel better. You know, you really do. You really do. And so the reason we do these things is because they work. The problem is they don't work long term. And so the negative impacts of that, they might even show up that same night. They'll definitely show up the next day. And the compounding effect of those negative behaviors, especially decades in, that's when things are really challenging. And so I think the first thing is just to acknowledge, a lot of times in health and wellness, we do this sort of judgment thing where we think, oh, that's so crazy. Why would you possibly do that? It's really obvious why you do that. It feels good, tastes good, makes you feel better. People wouldn't do self-soothing, self-regulating behaviors, and they wouldn't do them if they didn't work. The problem is they don't work long term. So when I think about micro commitments, just trying to, on par, so on average, trying to make sure that most of your self-soothing behaviors, and it just has to tip like more than 50%, are going to play into long-term health, not just short-term self-soothing. And that takes some discipline, because it's difficult to see past a couple hours or a couple of days from now.
And what helps you personally, and then also your students, with that discipline?
I'd love to say, I love the idea of positive focus, meaning let me focus on a positive future self and a positive outcome. I don't find it nearly as effective as doomcasting being the idea of, let me think about what I know. And what I know is, from age 60 on, my grandfather sat in a chair and he watched a console television until the day he died. This is my genetics, this is my lineage, this is where I come from. What I know is I have people very, very close to me who are very close in age who can't experience basic vibrancy in life that I can, not because they have a different genetic wiring or anything like that. It's just those compounding choices that play out over a decade. So I think it's really important that people lean into the negative because it is more of a motivator. If you look at human psychology, we're way more driven by fear than we are by gain. It's so hard to think about, wouldn't it be great if at age 90 I could ski? We talk about that, and that's a positive thing on social media, but what we're really worried about is, what if I can't get out of bed in 5 years? What if this back pain never goes away and I don't just miss this ski season? What if I never ski again? What if I'm unable to keep up with my kids? What if I can't dance at my daughter's wedding? These kinds of things. And it's a really, people hate when I say this, but I just think it's important to understand what motivates us. And the same way I made that health change after waking up in the back of an ambulance, it was a really great gift for me. It scared the pants off me. You have to get anchored into where things might go wrong because we're just not wired from a psychological, motivational perspective to make changes until there's some pain. So if you don't have pain, you're lucky. If you're not sick, amazing. But it's helpful just to sit down and go, what would happen to my relationships? What would happen to my work? What would happen to my lifestyle if, fill in the blank, this elevated blood glucose turns into prediabetes or diabetes, or this chronic fatigue turns into me missing out on my friend trip, which, turns into the dissolving of my friendships. And it's a really miserable exercise, but from that can come really positive choices. And of course, swimming in negative stuff all day, that's not going to be the place, but anchoring yourself in, I'm doing this as an avoidant behavior, can help you get focused on the positive, and I enjoy it even more.